Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. It's beautiful outside. On my end, it was overcasty this morning, but the sun is shining. So, men, sun, in a little bit. Mate, hold on. Be a delivery coming, but just hold on 1 second, Iman. Me and son might go for a walk. I stretched this morning. I'm just talking until some people come in the room. I know it's coming up on the summer. So, and then it's also Father's Day weekend. Hey, Chef Hit, first one in the room. I appreciate you. Happy Father's Day weekend um, to you and all the fathers and the grandfathers and all of those who stepped up to the plate to be a part of children's lives, in whoever's lives, just a part. Um, you guys make the difference. I am not one of those mamas who running around talking about happy Mother's Day to the women. I don't do that. That irritates my whole spirit. Um, because I'm not a dude. I'm not a man. I don't have testosterone or any of the other things that men have. I don't have that. So I don't prefer as a mom to be saying I'm both the mama and the daddy because I could never be. I can only be me. I can't be a man. I appreciate it. Happy good weekend to you and the family. I appreciate you stopping in even while you out shopping. I'm trying to get my it's very much appreciated. Um yeah, I appreciate you. Like I was saying, yeah, I don't like people to say happy Father's Day to me. I'm a mom and that's it. You know. I can't do what a man do. You know what I mean? There's a certain whole lot of something that men could do that women cannot do. I'm not a man. Children respond differently to men. Don't get me wrong. There are some children that I don't care who it is, they act crazy. But they respond different to dudes, to men, you know? So I just wanted to shout out all the dads, all the hardworking dads, the good dads, the supportive dads, the loving dads. Men can be nurturers too. Hi, Isla. Welcome to my live. I am Yolanda, and this is my live, Britt Family Fun. Thank you for stopping by. If you're a dad, you have kids, uncle, grandpa, whatever. Happy Father's Day. Um, Happy Father's Day to you if you have kids, and even if you don't. If you ever took the time to speak into a child's life and to encourage them, thank you and point them in the right, sorry about that, point them in the right direction. Salute to you. Thank you for subscribing. I hope your day is going well so far. I really hope it is. And I hope you have an amazing day. If you're having, okay, you're 27. Okay, well, it's fine. My son is 27. And my son doesn't have any kids either. But it's okay. If you ever spoke to a young person and ever tried to encourage them and point them in the right direction, even at your young age, kudos to you. So, and that's fine. Listen, I grew up knowing people who had children at 15. some 14, maybe even 13. So, it's not too young to be a dad. And if you don't want to at this time, guess what? That's cool too. Live your life, establish your career, go to school, whatever it is. I hit the chat. Hold on. By mistake. Hold on, guys. Hold on. How the heck did I do that? Oh, hold on, guys. I hit the chat by mistake. Oh my God. Okay, got it. Sorry about that. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Kelly Vandersall. Thank you for coming back today. I really appreciate it. Sorry about that. I hid the chat for a minute. I hid the chat. Can you look up in the cabinet and find me one of those hydration thingies? Cold water. 4 girls and 2 boys. Well, you go, Dad. You go, Dad. I know that's right. And see, I have 3 boys and 1 girl. You go, Dad. My hat's off to you. Chef hit dice, I promise you. I hate when this thing does this. Uh-oh. Who talking crazy? Who talking crazy? Hold on, Chef. I'm gonna give you I'm gonna make you give you a blue jacket. I made you a moderator too, because sometimes I just need help. People be in here talking crazy. Huh? Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God, people are jerks. I made you a mod, Chef, because somebody just came on and said the most ignorant mess. Lord have mercy. When they get it back, listen, when they get it back. This Bama sat up here and said, shut up, old lady. You have to be in a hospital or jail, and you're so stupid. Oh my God. Have the day you deserve. Have the day you deserve, Mr. Haley Martin or her or whoever it is, whether it's a man or a woman, I don't care. Um, what's actually cool? I'm confused. I just shared that somebody told me to shut up, old lady, that I deserve to be in jail. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I was confused. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's definitely crazy. But awesome, awesome chef. Awesome chef. Awesome. Salute to the dads. I was on Crystal's live this morning. She was I normally don't be up early if I don't have to be, but my spirit woke me up, so I got up. I was probably about 4:30, but I got on Crystal's live at like a little bit after 6:30, I believe. And it was so good to be there on her live. She's such an awesome content creator. Get your wine today, chef. I can't wait till I'm in the place to say, hey chef, dinner's on me today for you and the family. Cause you always cooking. It's crazy that I go live every day. Why? I have to earn watch hours. That's what I'm looking for. I desire to be monetized. I have a goal. That's why I go live every day. Sometimes I may take the day off, but I'll still do like a long form content. That's like a video that I post. It's maybe 10, 8 to 10 minutes per se. Um, and we all desire that. We all desire watch hours. And You get watch hours from going live. Jace is on the case. Hey, Jace. Hey, Jace. You're a comment creator. You're silly. It's what you are. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Richard. Jace, check the comments. A couple of people. Oh, yeah, I hear that too. I hear that ignoramus statement for the ding dong. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, my brother. It means a lot. The Solomon Project, Mr. Richard, aka Mr. Richard. Thank you for showing up. I definitely appreciate it. It's okay. It pops up. You know what? What? Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. My heart's desire is to be my authentic self. And again, to any other fathers who just stepped in the room, I salute you, fathers, grandfathers, whomever. I just salute you guys on this weekend. And I just pray that it is just filled with so much love and joy. And you know, that you get favored beyond measure today. Not just today, but every day. Because guess what? Being a dad is daily. I appreciate it. Um, Being a dad is a daily thing. My dad transitioned 2 years ago. So if I seem to get a little emotional, y'all just bear with me. My dad transitioned 2 years ago. He had cancer. In his bile duct. And it is a condition. I just can't remember the name of it because it's a long name. So I just say cancer. Yes, absolutely. That's going to happen, Chef. I know it is. Yep, my dad had cancer of his bile duct. And we had found out years before he passed. So, even once we got the news a couple of years later, we were able to celebrate his 80th birthday before he passed. And so, like, we celebrated his birthday in November. He passed in March of 2023. And so, I kind of wanted to share a few stories. All of them may not be, uh, happy, happy, joy, joy, but I'll just probably start with some challenges. I love and I miss my dad. I do every day. So let me just say that. So I don't want y'all to think I'm going on the slaughter fest because that's not what it is. I just wanted to share some stories. For me, growing up in a household with my dad, uh, we were church babies. You know what I'm saying? When my dad and them, before my dad and really started having a relationship with God and everything, he didn't do church too much. We only did church on holidays, Christmas, Easter, and occasions of that nature. If you guys hear, that is my AC unit. Sounds like a truck. But uh, you know, my dad did his best. Even if he didn't want to go, he would try to get us into church a couple of times a year. I am the oldest of two siblings. So, and then once my dad did, I understand. That's fine, Chef. I appreciate you. Growing up for me, once my dad accepted Christ and started having a relationship with God, we started to go to church a whole lot more. We was at church on Tuesdays. The church that we went to, grew up in Antioch Baptist Church, honey. And so we would be at church. Our families will rotate and clean the church. I understand, Kelly. Thank you for stopping by. our families will rotate cleaning up the church, honey. So we was in there. We was in there for Bible study. We was in there for harvest festival. We was in there for vacation Bible school. Maybe we was cleaning the church. We was at watch night service and every other service that he had at this church. Okay. So, and my dad is a very punctual person. He did not do late. Okay. When we got older, became teenagers, baby, listen to me good. If your behind wasn't ready when we got teenagers, this is a dad in a house with 4 women, my mama and me and my sisters. And so my daddy would leave you, but as we got older, if you wasn't ready, you were getting left. That's just what he did. I promise you, it is what he did. And my dad came from a big family. He had, it was either 13 or 14 of them. I don't know why this thing keep popping up here, but it's okay. We're going to just roll with it. So my dad came from a big family. It was like 13, 14 of them. 13, I believe. So it was 8 girls, 4 boys. Okay. And so uh my grandfather was a Mumford Marine. And so it was a lot of discipline. It was a lot of, with all of them, everybody's learning how to cook, how to clean, how to all of that. You know what I mean? One of my very fond memories with my dad, I had to be maybe 5 or 6 years old, maybe say, I don't know, somewhere between 5 and 7, 5 and 8, somewhere around there. So my dad grew up in Washington, D.C., Northeast to be exact. And so uh, one day my dad wanted me to come with him. My other 2 sisters were younger. And so he took me on this trip and he went uptown to Washington, D.C. We went to the southeast portion. And when we got out the car, I remember there being a gas station there, and he parked near this apartment building. I don't know, it was a vacant, so to speak. It was vacant from what I believe, but there were people living there. You could see the windows open, I mean, all the way. No, nothing on the windows. You seen people standing out there. There were families that were homeless, that were living in these vacant apartment buildings and everything. And I remember my dad saying, "Come here." And he was pointing to the buildings. He was like, "You see those people?" And he didn't say anything bad about the people. He said, "I don't want this for you. I don't want this for you. I don't want this for any of my girls." You know what I'm saying? He was like, "I just don't." He said, "These people are hungry." You know what I'm saying? They have no heat, no electricity. They're really having some serious problems. And he didn't say a whole lot more. He never he never talked down about the people that he showed me. That wasn't my dad. He didn't do that. Uh, and that was a moment that stuck out to me. Oh, I'm 54, and I'll never forget that moment. He just said, "I don't want this for you. I don't want this for my girls. I don't want you guys living like this." That's what he said. And so I'll never forget that moment. Jace, I don't know if you're still here because I know you pop in and pop out. But it's cool. I'm just going to keep sharing anyway. And if you're watching this on the replay, I hope you get it. So that's one of the many memories that sticks out with me. And he took me and my sisters everywhere. Anybody that knew my dad knew how he felt about his girls. He was always riding. We was always going for a ride, stopping past McDonald's to get an ice cream cone, what have you. That's what my dad did with us. Of course, things got different when we got older. My dad was very stringent and very strict. Honey, listen. At one point, we couldn't go past the little porch area right outside the door. It wasn't that big. I don't know if it was 6 feet. It might have been less, by whatever, but it wasn't a very big space. I don't know why it keeps popping up. So y'all charge it to my head and not to my heart. I'm not gonna let it stop my story. Um, and so at one point, like I said, I couldn't go past that porch area when I started to be teenager. And then I couldn't go past the end of the drive. Okay, that's how strict my father was with girls, with us. I know at least for me. I don't recall him doing that to my sisters, and maybe he did. I just don't remember. But I remember it feeling like it was just always me. I could not go past a certain point. And then one day my mama said, Milton, you better let that girl go. Let her have friends. Let her get around the neighborhood. Let her meet people. Because if you don't do this now, she's going to be out of control. Then she's going to be doing things that you regret. And so he eventually started letting me kind of spread my wings and walk through the neighborhood and, you know, uh, stuff like that. And my father stayed very strict, and back then people in the neighborhood gave a daggone. They cared. I was sitting, no, some guy that I liked was sitting up on a brick wall at my neighbor's house, and I was standing like in front of him. He was sitting up there, I was standing in front of him, talking to him, just grinning and smiling. Honey, I heard a window open across the street. My neighbor said, if you don't get from out that little boy's face and curry your butt home. And so I was walking, he was walking me back. Um, Then I saw another neighbor come out the door. And she said, if you don't leave them little boys alone and go on in the house, I'm gonna tell your parents. And so I did just that. But then actually people, I mean, to a fault, it got on your nerves. But at the same time, I'm grateful that people care. Right now, people just look out their windows, they turn on their phones, they video record, and not too many people care like that no more. You know what I'm saying? They see violence or whatever happening towards somebody, maybe they're gonna turn the other way. They might even videotape it and post it, but as far as being proactive in making sure the kids are good within the community, they just don't do those things. And that was just little things that I was sharing growing up about my dad. My dad, growing up, my dad was a very, very good cook, y'all. My dad, he loved to bake pies. Pies were his thing, okay? Peach pies, strawberry pies, and my dad, he could cook. He loved to make cornbread and biscuits and things like that, amongst other things. And my dad, just he loved being on the grill. You know what I'm saying? My dad would get on the grill 8 o'clock in the morning, and my dad would grill until 8 o'clock at night. I mean, he would buy meat after meat. He would grill all day. Hot dogs and hamburgers and chicken and steak, and he would just grill everything. Um, that was just something that he loved. He'd get on that grill, honey, he'd be lost. He'd turn on his music and he loved quartet groups. And my father came from that era where he did the Temptations, the Shy Lies, the Dales, Dale Phonics, all of that. You know what I'm saying? Stevie Wonder, he did all of them, you know. And so um my dad was quite the character. Um my dad could sing. And his if I could describe his voice, and I promise you, if it is accurate. My dad, that silent night. He was that one. He was that high tenor voice. He was that high tenor voice. that did his thing. That's exactly sounded like. And so I I to this day that song makes me emotional. When I hear it because it makes me automatically think of my dad. You know what I mean? Uh growing up in the house with my dad. Hey, positively. Growing up in a house with my dad wasn't a big hugger. You know what I mean? He didn't do that. He didn't. It wasn't a lot of hugging going on. It wasn't a lot of hey, I love you, uh, and things like that. Those things didn't take place a lot. And so in my older age, I have my moments where I just wish I could have gotten a hug, you know. I wish I could have heard some things beyond your phone voice. It's wonderful, and you're a beautiful young lady. Those things, you know, he would say. But as far as the embracing and the hugging, it was something that lacked, you know. So sometimes I still struggle in those areas, not to hug because I'm super huggy, you know what I'm saying. People wonder, how does it you can't become so affectionate in a household? Well, you didn't get a lot of it, because I didn't want my kids to feel like my mama don't hug me. You know what I mean? My mama didn't give me a kiss today. My mama didn't say she didn't love me or she didn't encourage me. You know, I promised you guys I was going to share a story about my dad, and this is just a little bit. Um, you know, my dad, like I said, my dad would tell me things like I'm pretty, had a beautiful phone voice. You know, he was like, you know, he would always tell me that I could sing, um, you know, and different things to do as far as breathing and things like that. Welcome positively. And so I miss those things. Um, and I try my best to get through, um, without being emotional, I guess. But sharing your feelings, is not a bad thing. I didn't want anybody to take it the wrong way and think it was like a slaughter fest or something, because that is definitely not my intention. You know, there were some things that stung that were said growing up, uh, that I have to still push past at 54. Like nobody's gonna ever want you, uh, because you have children, and stuff like don't no man want a ready-made family. Things like that were things that stung. You know what I mean? And ask God to just to heal my heart from the stings of those, because those are things that fathers shouldn't say to their girls. You know what I mean? I was the first child that had children, the first daughter that had children, before I got married and everything. I did. And that makes me no less than anybody else that had children in wedlock, because people can be married and still be miserable. 100%. Um, you know, you can be married and be happy and it can be blissful and magical and all that, but they can still be married and miserable. Um, you know, so I grew up thinking, God, nobody is ever going to want me because I have children, you know. And so you don't realize sometimes until later on in life what a hole that leaves in your heart, you know, hearing that somebody will never want you because you have children. And so for me, it kind of left me feeling like I had to prove myself, um, to people, not just guys, even with females, that I was good enough, that I was okay enough, that I was pretty enough, that I was worthy enough for whatever it was. Um, And I still have to remind myself not to uh try to push, trying to prove myself to people because I didn't think that I was good enough. So, um, I definitely, just like I said, I wanted to share a little bit of that. It wasn't, it's not my intention to bring anyone down, to make anyone feel sad, to do anything. It was just my truth. It's just my way of navigating this weekend. Because even though there were challenges and even though there were things that hurt bad, um, I still miss him. I still miss my dad. You only get one. You only get one. Um, it's kind of like what you wouldn't give to Hi Ravender, what you wouldn't give it to hear a voice. Thank you. To hear a voice when you wouldn't give to hear one of my dad's silly jokes. And my dad was a jokester, but for some reason, for me, I wasn't with it. I don't know. My dad's jokes were like gut punches at times. You know, he was a jokester to a fault where it stung for me. Like one day he was in the kitchen and I was kind of hanging around in the kitchen, kind of watching and waiting for breakfast or whatever. Thank you. And he was looking for his cup. And he was like, "Oh, I couldn't find it because your big behind was in the way." And at the time, I was nowhere near the size that I am now. I was much smaller, but it was always fat jokes and things like that. And so, um, a part of that was kind of like growing up, never just feeling good enough, or even when I was skinny and I was a size 12. And if I gained 3 pounds, you would have thought I gained 800 pounds. And there were always things said. So I went through phases of like trying to diet. I'm talking about taking diet pills and just drinking water, not eating, not anything. And I remember one day it just made me really, really sick. And I remember calling him and asking him, can he get me? Because I was just sick at school. And they didn't know that I had been taking diet pills because I just wanted to look a certain way, you know, um, even being 145 pounds. I felt like I was never good enough, you know. Um, and so, you know, I went through those things, you know. I knew all of the story wasn't going to be all of the good and all of the wonderful things that I thank you that I experienced with my dad, because there were some things that were downright hurtful and downright painful for me. Why did I share it this Father's Day weekend? Because even in the midst of my tears, I know that God is still going to heal. You know what I mean? I know that these things they won't always sting, you know? It won't always feel like that. Thank you, Ravender. It won't always, it won't always be like that, you know? And, you know, my dad is not here. My grandfather is gone. I think after Christmas, I lost one of my uncles too. And my uncle, if you're familiar, don't worry about Ravender, guys. Ravender is from another country, and they allow this. It helps with the watch time and all of that kind of stuff. It's like a a clicker thing. Thank you, positively. I was trying not to cry, but that's a little difficult. And sometimes it is difficult to kind of share your emotions. Hey, Miss Nancy, to share your emotions. I was just sharing some stories, about my dad. And my dad, like I said, he was a jokester, but to me, I didn't get my dad's humor. He always did fat jokes and jokes that stung, for me. And then when I would respond by being hurt or crying, I was just told that I was too sensitive. And we all are different, okay? I'm not one of those people that like to take pot shots, you know, to the point where you feel like you're being sucker punched with unkind jokes. Because my grandfather was the same way, you know. Some of my aunts even say, "Oh, you're fat and you look like Barney," and things like that. And while some people might think that those things are absolutely hilarious, I don't find those type of things very funny. Yes, I laugh at jokes, don't get me wrong. I have a great sense of humor, but I don't take it too far where I feel like I gotta suck somebody to get a laugh. I'm just not that person. Playing those sick jokes is not what I like to do. Hold on. Oop, I didn't mean to do that. Playing little jokes. I get made mod to Miss Nancy. Playing little jokes on people and saying horrible words is just not something that I like to do. Yeah, but I was called that a lot. Like I'm too sensitive. I take things too, too, too personal, you know. And uh thank you, Ravender. Thank you for coming by. I appreciate you. Y'all, in her country, it is allowable. Here, I know it's not. If we spam like this, we get in trouble. In their country, it's allowable. It helps with engagement and watch hours and things like that. It actually means something. They have some app that's a clicker, that it repeats things like that. So that is what she does, just in case it looks like she's spamming, because I thought she was too until I visited a live with SSV and she explains it and she told me she doesn't speak English. But listen, her content is amazing on her page. It's a lot of cooking. She shares a lot of awesome things on her page. Um, but I really appreciate you guys listening. It wasn't my plan to cry because I'm not a cry on cure. I have been trying to fight back tears, and today it was just one of those days. You know what I mean? Um, I miss seeing my dad in the kitchen. My dad loved to make biscuits and cornbread, and he loved to cook his greens. And so when I did greens for the first time, and he tasted them, and he said that they were awesome, it made me feel good. You know what I mean? I miss, being there sometimes and, being able to prepare dinner for my parents, like they did for me, so many days when I was growing up. And so, you know, it's a lot of people that still have their dads. And there's also a lot of people that don't. And so, my heart goes out to those who are still missing their parents, whether it's 2 months, 2 days, 2 years, 20 years, 30 years. The pain can still, it can still hurt. You know, it doesn't stop me from believing that God is still a healer, even in the midst of the pain, at all. I don't believe that, some people may say that it never goes away. I'm just a person who just never believes in never. Do you have moments where it still will come back and maybe you get triggered from it? So I say, yes, you will. But I think it's by God's grace and his strength that we get through like every day. Like every day, and we're still able to function and keep going. You know, some people don't have any parents. Like my youngest, Solomon, his father has lost his mom, has lost his dad, has lost his godmother, and lost his and lost his mama's friend just yesterday. Are we cool as far as me and him? No, we are not. But my heart still goes out. I still get it because that's a void. I mean, to have that many hits over the last maybe 4 or 5 years is a lot, you know. It's a lot. So my heart goes out to people who are missing their dads. You know what I'm saying? And even being a single mom raising kids, I don't want any woman to call the Happy Father's Day to me. No, ma'am, I love all of my sisters. You know, we are family, we all of that. But don't say Happy Father's Day to me. I could never replace a man. I just can't do it. You know what I mean? I'm going to work hard. I'm going to do whatever I need to do. But there's just some things that I can't do because I'm not a man at all. So, um, so just forgive me if I say, please don't do that. Please don't wish me a happy Father's Day. I'm Yolanda. I'm a single mom going one day, one step at a time by God's grace. That's it. By God's grace. That's it. I am here because of him. You know, that song, Because He Lives, I Can Face Tomorrow. That is the reason why I'm still here and able to face another day because he lives, because he lives. And, am I going to have days where I might shed a tear a little bit? Yep. But guess what? After those tears are shed, I'll take a deep breath. I'll dust myself off. I'll wipe the tears from my eyes like I've been doing since I've been on here. And I'm going to get up and keep going. I did, you know. I'm going to get up and I'm going to keep on going. Um, you know, I just shared the good and the bad because life ain't always all roses. You know, we gonna have some rainy days. We gonna have some storms. We gonna have some challenges, but we keep going. Like I said, you can rest, take a moment, but just don't quit. You know, I believe that we're stronger together. Like these moments help. Being able to come on live and to be able to say, hey, this is me. I'm human. Yes, I cry sometimes. Yes, I've wig out on my children on occasion, uh, clean the house. Listen, I do that. I do that. Yes, we are a family, and you guys make more of a difference in my life than you realize. When I don't see you, like I freaking miss you. Like each and every one of you guys, I miss you. Y'all, I was so glad to see Boss Dog yesterday. When Boss Dog showed up, I was just very, very happy because his presence was missed. He is a professional supporter. You know, he don't do lives, but baby, he will show up and he will go on pages from beginning to the end if he can. And I appreciate that. Everybody, yes, and he's back. He stopped on my page yesterday. He was grieving his god brother that passed away a couple of months ago. His baby Dorian is 3 months now, and so it just warms my heart. He's a new father. Every day is different. To see a child form in the belly and then come out and in the world, every month is something different. It's a new milestone. It's a new life. And so, I just wanted to salute fathers and grandfathers and uncles and any man that just have stepped up to encourage the lives of our children. I'm talking about teenagers, little boys. One day, y'all, I had, since I've been living in this house now, I think it's been almost 8 months, and so I had a guy knock on my door by mistake. He was the main person looking at roofs and stuff. And my son happened to look out the window, guys. He saw a Tesla, right? He saw the Cybertruck. And he was like, Mom, it's a Cybertruck outside right in front of the house. I'm saying, look, don't play with me. It's not a Tesla out there. It's not in a Cybertruck. You don't even see those that much. And so, at least not in my area, but I looked out there and it was. So he was trying to get a picture. So I was like, forget it. We're going to look like stalkers. Stop peeking through the window. Open the door and say hi to the fellas and say, hi, fellas. I just wanted to say I love the Cybertruck, right? So the guy was like, he could come out. He could come out. He could take pictures. He could sit on the truck. He could climb on the bed. He could sit in the truck. He could do whatever. And it was a young guy. And he was like, I got this so that young boys could see that anything is possible when they work hard. And y'all, that warmed my heart. He wasn't standoffish. He wasn't bougie. He wasn't like, get away from my truck. He wasn't none of that. He allowed us to sit in the truck. I was scared to get in it, but Solomon, I let him do it. He sat in the front seat. He sat on top of the truck. He's one of his buddies. I was standing right there the whole time. Picked Solomon up and put him on top of the truck. Like Solomon was like, yes, like this is everything. Like he really loved that. And at that time, a lot of people were angry with Elon Musk. So they was like, oh, you could have picked a different car. But listen, the Cybertruck was in front of my house. That thing is a tank. It's huge. It looked like a tank. That's what it looked like. An army tank. A fancy army tank. It almost looked like it can fly. But that moment where he said, I just got it so little boys and little girls can see what hard work does. You know what I'm saying? They can have nice things. Yes, I thought it was cool, Miss Nancy. My son will never forget it. I have so many pictures. I took so many pictures of him that day with that Cybertruck. He was so excited. And it's little differences like that men don't realize how much of an impact. Some of them do and some of them don't realize how much an impact they have in the lives of children. You know what I'm saying? They always watching, and that's why I think everything is not good for kids to watch because they project the wrong image for children. You know what I'm saying? Everything is not gangster and popping butts and, making money not the appropriate way. Um, kids need to see that anything is possible when they work hard, when they strive for it. If they get that education, and even if they don't, there's still jobs starting off at $80,000 plus, even without a high school diploma, that can be done. And so, those are the things that came in my mind. You know what I'm saying? I wish my dad would have had conversations with me telling me how a guy should treat me. You know what I mean? Yeah, my dad was bad on by yourself and things like that, and that was cool. But I'm talking about how to be treated with respect and what to look for when those things are not, that you don't have to accept that. You don't have to be accepted to accept being treated less than a woman should be. You don't. You know what I'm saying? Um, I wish I would have heard those things like that dude should be opening doors. You know what I mean? He shouldn't come in expecting you to pay for everything concerning him. You know what I'm saying? Um, and if the disrespect and stuff is not there, then they don't need to be a part of your life. You know what I'm saying? I had to learn a lot of lessons the very hard way, very, very hard way. And So I'm getting to the point now because I'm older. I'm a 54-year-old woman rushing a relationship for what? Would I love to be again someday? I would. But guess what? I also know that I didn't have much of a gauge, y'all. I didn't have much of a gauge in the area of somebody loving me. I didn't have much of a gauge of people treating me with the utmost respect. So I kind of accepted a lot of stuff that I shouldn't have. I dealt with a lot of things that I shouldn't have. I've gone through domestic violence. I've gone through dudes treating me like I was a trophy. Um, but then, after that kind of shoe fly shoe, and they're going and doing what they wanted to do, and then they come back when they had their fun wherever they was at. Mm-mm. Nobody has to deal with those things. Men don't have to accept it from women. Women don't have to accept it from men. This is about Father's Day, but I was just generally just talking, you know, the fathers and the uncles and the grandfathers, women and kids need to be taught to be respectful, to be responsible, to be ready to learn, to be a good example, to be a scholar, to be a motivator. Those types of things, they need to see men going to work, not men that say that it's okay for a woman to take care of them while they sit on their butt and do nothing but try to dictate what needs to be done. That, to me, in my opinion, that is not a real man. You know what I'm saying? Because some people come from that where they think a woman is supposed to be subservient. They're supposed to come in the house and kick off their dirty boots and put them all on the table and leave dirt all over the place and expect the woman to do something. No, ma'am, or no, sir. No, ma'am. To the guys that still come home and want to help, their wife, their girlfriend, or whoever they call her. You know what I'm saying? Help her. Those are good dudes. You know what I'm saying? Not I'm gonna treat you whatever way I treat you, and you still gotta be good to me in spite of how I treat you. No, ma'am. I dealt with that stuff for too long. Now it's like, hey, work on me, get me healed. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to be hurting no good dudes. Oh, Miss Nancy, listen, honey, I got stories for days. I know what you're talking about. Okay? I went through that. Physical abuse, verbal abuse, emotionally abuse, even abuse spiritually. And you say, well, how can a person do that? A person can be treating you like a dirty dog, like Miss Nancy said, and using the scripture towards you to try to make you feel bad. That is the highest form of manipulation. Okay? Be beating your behind. Be beating your behind and still expect you to be the good woman, to lay down and do whatever you're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? And all of that kind of stuff. Um, and so you get to a point in your life when you're coming up in a more seasoned age. Oh, see, yeah, I understand, Miss Nancy. Trust me. Trust me. Ooh, I understand. You're a wonderful woman. Hello, Thomas Ferreira. I might be pronouncing that wrong, but charge it to my head, my dear, not my heart. Welcome to my live. I am Yolanda, and this is my channel, Britt Family Fun. This is a variety channel. I talk just like I'm talking now. So salute to the fathers out there, the fathers, the grandfathers, the uncles, all of those great people in the world who are stepping up and stepping out with kids to make sure that they have a good life. Everybody's situation ain't gravy. And but you know, I heard this is kind of off topic a little bit. I heard this popular content creator, which I ain't gonna even name, uh said that women who have are not married, their children are bastards. Um, and it's so ironic when you hear people say things like that, But these are a lot of people that are supporting you and sending you stuff to your PO box, and and all kinds of things, and they constantly badger single moms and single dads, and I think that that is so crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? Because they're hardworking fathers out here, just like there's hardworking mothers. But right now, like I said, I'm highlighting the daddies because there's some good doggone dads out here that deserve the love and respect from us. They deserve to have restaurants packed out this weekend, honey. They deserve to go on a trip with their boys and go fishing if they want to. Fishy things, hey. And all the other sailing, what's his name? Sailing somebody. I forgot his name. He always cooking good stuff on his boat. And all the dudes that love to fish. Hey, Shots. Happy Father's Day to you, sir. Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to my brother Shots. If y'all have not checked out DMW, I said it right. Shots, go check him out, guys. I promise. He covers the Diddy trials down in New York. He's from the Bronx. He is upbeat. He's energetic. He's very, very a personable. He is a hard working dude. He's a hard working dude. I'm trying to tell you, if you ever go to one of his and you watch him when he is traveling them New York streets, okay? Brooklyn, I'm sorry. Brooklyn, my bad. Brooklyn, I'm sorry, I said the Bronx. So, he's traveling those New York streets, doing his thing in the car, jamming out, in the truck or in the truck, person in the truck, jamming to his music. You won't be disappointed because he's just so energetic, and you feel that the moment that you click on one of his lives. Go check out him covering the Diddy trials in New York. He gets some really good stuff. He got some skills now. He got some skills. So, go check it. Go check it out. Go check it out. I really think that no problem, my brother. He is someone that once you start watching his content, you won't want to stop. And what's so amazing about him is that he's a father, he's a hard worker, he loves that camera, and the energy is amazing. And he's always, yes, Shots by Shots TV. He is always encouraging uh other YouTube relationships. And I love it. It's not a sub by sub piece. It's a, hey, go check them out. You know what I'm saying? Um, Type deal. And I have so much respect for him because of that. I hope he has a weekend for everything he wants this Father's Day weekend. I mean, Father's Day is every day, but this weekend, y'all show up for these fathers. Pack out the restaurants. Let them go hang out with their boys if they want to go fishing. If they want to be with their kids, let them be with their kids. Don't give these brothers a hard time. You need to be with me. Let them go have their moment, y'all. Don't be hard with them. Let them go have their fun. It's their weekend, man. They should have had something every single day. You know what I'm saying? Far beyond the weekend for fathers, because it's some good dads. That is so awesome. And I love that. I love that for you. I love it for you, my brother. I was just sharing a few stories with my dad and about my dad, who passed 2 years ago. And one of the stories that I never forget, I was like between the ages of 5 and 8. He took me downtown DC, and it was this abandoned building where people were still living there. I'm talking about living, hanging out in the building. You could see them, with the busted out windows and they were stealing. There was a lot of like homeless families and stuff. And my dad would say, listen, I don't want you or your sisters to have to deal with this, to have to live like this. You know, he never said anything bad about the people. He just said that that's not what he wanted for us. Did I have some experiences growing up that I regret that? What I'm glad I did? Yep, I sure did. But guess what? I got through them. You know what I mean? I got through them, and I'm still here by the grace of God. You know what I mean? So. Uh, I'm grateful for moments like that. You know what I'm saying? When my father passed away, some of his own family didn't know the stuff that he did. My father was always out there giving people money. He was always feeding stuff. I lived in a DV shelter. If you don't know what a DV shelter is, it's a domestic violence shelter. I lived in the domestic violence shelter. My dad would pull up in his pickup truck. One of these bakery friends would give him all these different types of breads. That is sourdough bread, raisin bread, wheat bread, this kind of bread, that kind of bread. And he would bring in a truckload of stuff and tell me to take what you want, Londa. They never call me my whole name. They never say Yolanda. They always cut it short and say Londa. Take you what you need and give it out to the friends, the staff, or whoever need it. And if it's still there by the end of the day, take it and give it to people outside the building too. That may be homeless or whatever. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. I really, really do. Because that's not a good day to go by that I don't miss him. And have my moments. I have one of those, ooh, I wish somebody I was close to could knock on my door and just say, hey, I heard you wanted a hug. Let me give you one. Um, it's one of them days, you know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna be okay, y'all. I'm gonna get through it. People that hung in there with me, I done shedded my tears, I done cried a little bit. Um, but shout out to my grandfather who's gone on too. He was a Mumford Marine. My uncle, that's what I wanted to say, y'all. I have an uncle that sung in the Highway QCs since I was a little girl, and that was a quartet group, a very popular quartet group many, many moons ago. They are still around here, of course. Some of them passed on, and then you have a few that are still in the land of the living by the grace of God. So, my uncle was a good man. Thank you so much, Miss Nancy, and I love you right back. I do it because I know sometimes it's hard for people to talk about losses and things that they went through with their father, mother, whatever, growing up. And sometimes it takes a lot to share not just the good stuff, but the stuff that hurt, the stuff that stung. Um, you know, like I said, I didn't want anybody to think it was a slaughter fest against my dad, because it wasn't at all. My dad was a good dude. He was a provider. You know what I'm saying? We didn't know hunger. Even though my dad said when I was a baby, they went through some struggles and they remember having to eat food out of a can, because that was all that was available for him and my mom that time, and me, which I was their first baby. And he said he had promised God at that moment that he would never allow his family to go without or to be hungry in that moment. It does something to a man who wants to provide for real for his family. And so, growing up, I didn't know what it was like to not have, because we always did. You know what I'm saying? Um, we always had food. You know what I'm saying? There was always food on the table. My dad made sure that we didn't lose have a power up go out and electrical gas, and we didn't have those challenges growing up. He always kept it a buck for us. He always kept a roof over our head and everything. And for those things, I'm truly grateful. My dad was a hardworking man. My mother never treated him less than, because she made more than he. Before she retired, she made over six figures. Being RN. My mother is retired for over 20 something years as a RN, and she was good at her job. My mother started out working at Children's Hospital in Washington D.C. And she also worked at VA, Veterans Administration Affairs. She worked for them too, and so that's just a little bit about me and my dad, with little sprinkles about my dad, about my mama and my sisters in there. But it was mostly the focus on dads, dads, keep going, dads, don't give up, dads, you are valuable. Thank you. Dads, you are valuable. Dads, you are needed. These kids in 2025, they are dealing with stuff that we did not have to deal with growing up. Dads, kids need to know that it's okay to speak up if it's adult that makes them feel uncomfortable, whether it's a boy, whether it's a girl. They need to feel comfortable to speak up. If it's a dad, if it's a teacher that makes them uncomfortable, is it somebody you brought to the house? Kids need that love. They need to know that everybody out here ain't for you. There's some people out here that's pedophiles and they love kids. They love touching on kids. I remember it was a big old controversy about the little girl, Miss Shirley, that does the boots on the ground. And yes, I find her absolutely adorable. She is cute. But there's no way I would be passing around my child to a bunch of men, women traveling high and far to hold my 4-year-old. No, ma'am. You say what you want to say. A lady made a comment to say, "Oh, y'all came from that era where people touched y'all." Baby, people ain't stopped touching children. Okay? So that's my PSA. For one, people ain't stopped touching children. Folk ain't stopped being pedophiles. They still do it. Okay? They still do it. That acting like you're picking up a child while you're caressing a bum and stuff like that, those are slick things that pedophiles do. They do all kinds of slick things that people don't realize if we don't teach and educate our children. No, there's been stories going around. This little girl wanted to go spend the night over her friend's house, okay? Her father drugged all the little girls so he could do whatever he wanted to do to them, okay? And so you just never know. You know what I'm saying? We have to have discernment. Oh, you're being paranoid. No, I'm not being paranoid. They still do it. There's still men and females out here that look at children like slabs of meat and don't mind touching boys or girls. There are grown men out here that will try to groom little boys. Okay? I remember hearing somebody say, "Oh yeah, such and such went over some dude house, and their company wanted to go to the bathroom. The little boy had to go to the bathroom, and the dad says, 'Hey, don't close the bathroom. We're all men around here. Leave that door open. You can do what you do with the door open.'" I'm like, "Oh hell no!" Excuse my expression. Oh hell no! Like there is nothing okay about that. Okay, you go close the door. Have your privacy. Now I get it. When my kids were little and they were boys, okay, crack that door a little bit just so I can make sure you're okay. Kids going in, playing the bathroom, playing the toilet. So I get that. But that's me. As a mom, I'm not doing nothing to my child. But instances where you going over somebody else's business and somebody saying, "Nah, close that bathroom door. We leave the bathroom door." No, no, we don't. No. That's weird behavior. To me, that's a part of grooming. And that's just weird. One day, my child takes natural assets, my 20-year-old. And so the dude came to the door. My son was dressed nice, whatever. But the dude was looking at him like up and down. Older gentleman. I was like, "What you looking at? What you looking at my son like that for?" And I said, "If you feel uncomfortable, tell him to pull that daggone car over, bring you back to his house, get his license plate number and everything. So we're gonna call the people on him." So, people behave weird. And my eyes always, not paranoid, I don't know. You'll never say, no, I don't even do that. I can look you up and down without, hey, crazy K's, without letting you know I'm checking you out. I'm going to check out your behavior, your mannerisms, how you act. That's just what I'm going to do. Good to see you, crazy K's. I was thinking about you today. I hope your week has gone well. Um, I hope that Sunflower is doing good. I hope she's okay because I know a lot of times, you say she's watching, but I hope she's doing well. This is not an anger thing with her. It was more hurt than anger. Totally. So yeah, I was just sharing some stories about growing up with my dad. Hey, Dima. Okay. Just sharing some stories of some things with my dad growing up. I lost my dad a couple of years ago, 2 years ago to be exact. Well, a little bit more than two. It was 2 years ago this past March 23rd. So April, May, June. Yeah, it's like, 3 months ago. It was like 2 years since I lost my dad. And so I was just sharing some stories, good, bad, the ugly. Um, Thank you about my dad and just my shout out to my dad. I have sons, you know. I want to be a grandma one day, I ain't rushing it because I told my kids a long time ago when they were little boys. I told them, do not make me a grandma early. I didn't want to be a 30-year-old grandma. I didn't want to be no young grandma. I love that DMV. I love that. I love that. I love that. Because all men don't think that way. In my particular situation with my youngest father, he was, because his dad walked out of his life, he was like, well, maybe I'm supposed to do that to my son. So even though he spends time with them at times, he's very distant. I was like, okay, so where he at? If I call, he'll be like, oh, he'll beg to have him, but then won't spend time. It's odd, But it's shout out to guys like you. Um, Shout out. This is not the actual sunflower. She just has sunflower in her name. I call her Crazy K's because it helps me distinguish her as at the actual sunflower. Sunflower talks a whole lot different than Crazy K's. Crazy K's is she talks different. Yeah, that's not the actual sunflower. She has sunflower in her name, but it's not a sunflower per se. Sunflower talks a lot different than Crazy K's. I just call her Crazy K's because it helps me to distinguish the two from one another. But you know, yeah, yes, that's what I call her. I call her Kay's a sweet young lady. She's very sweet, very mature for her age, and she's very mindful and very respectful. So I definitely always appreciate her presence. She says she loves to bake, so I'm hoping, hint, hint, Crazy K's, that she would show some things that she cooks. I know she said she's cooking this Father's Day weekend for her dad. So I can't wait. And I hope she shows it, hint, hint, um, the deliciousness that she's going to cook up this weekend uh, for her dad. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do. I may do some kind of wings, but I don't know. I kind of sort of want some biscuits, y'all. I love you and thank you. Thank you. I can't wait to hear about some of the things that she cooks because, honey, when I see teens in the kitchen and they excited, you know what I'm saying? She could have her own business, honey. She could have her own business doing big things with her food and her desserts and stuff. I want to see it. I didn't do no get fit with Britt today. I was in pain, but I did Miss Nancy. To anyone else who wants to know, I had been I found this video with stretches for she did it, she said for seniors. I'm not quite I'm over 50. but I do them anyway because they're very helpful and they're good stretches. I mean, I do a series of my own stretches too, but it's like a 5 minute stretch, but it's a stretch that you feel. And then this morning I did another exercise for this for this showing for these little fat arms. You know, that I'm gonna try to stick to that and knock those out every day to kind of get some tone back in my legs. And next I'll be looking for something to do with the thighs, too. I'm just saying. Um, so I did get a series of stretching and I'll probably do some more. So I'm trying to get I do too, Miss Nancy. I do too. I be trying to cover them up. That this is my real. This is yeah, I have them. And so, when you're young, you don't think you'll ever have them. But guess what? I got the little jiggly wiggies right there. I do. Uh, the funny thing, the thank God, so far so good. I hope it doesn't happen. My butt didn't sag on me. My butt didn't. That's still good. I did it. People be like, "What do you do?" I don't know. That's still there. I'm grateful. I'm glad it don't look like a bag of bread back in there, back there. But there's some other areas that I'm working on. You know what I'm saying? Like these back fats and stuff. Fat, you back fat and everything. Said my butt went away. Man, mine is still in good shape, thank God. And this is it's just with these rows in the front, make me feel like I ain't got no butt. But I'm grateful, on a lighter note. I want to thank you guys for listening and for being here. You for listening and being here. You said it went other places. Yeah, I don't like the back fat though. I don't like the back fat and the extra juice in the front. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm still beautiful. You guys are still beautiful. Man, women, boy, old girl. I tell my 11-year, you so awesome. But I tell my youngest one because he's slim and everything. He's very, very slim. And I said, you better take care of that slim body. He's slim like D&B Shots if you guys ever watched him. He's slim like that. And so I was like, you don't want to be slim with a 6-month-old belly in the front. Because you could be slim and still be overweight. That's what people get it wrong. They think everybody's slim healthy. Everybody healthy is everybody that's slim ain't necessarily healthy. But um, you know, I told him, it's important to eat right and to stay active and don't wait until you get older. Hey, fishy things, happy Father's Day. I hope you're having an amazing weekend. I hope you got some good plans, Mr. Fishy Things. Fishy Things is so amazing. If you haven't checked out his content, it's so relaxing and so therapeutic. He's so cool. He has so many awesome adventures on the water. He does some catch and releases. He probably actually eats some of the fish too, but excuse me, he does do catch and releases. You love fishing content, check out Fishy Things. And he has a whole group of people that love to do the same thing too. I would love to hang out on the boat with Fishy Things and learn some stuff. You're welcome. Because Fishy Things is just so awesome. He's so calm, cool, and collected. He's always on his boat or sitting by the water, doing his thing, and being on the water is very there. I can't swim a lick, but being on the water, near the water, it is so very therapeutic. He was telling me his stories being caught in a storm where it was lightning all around him on the boat trying to get back to the boat dock. And I tell you, I love to hear his stories. Guys, bear with me. I'm trying to make my rounds to visit pages. I haven't been in a little bit. Please charge it to my head and not to my heart. But thank you for still coming. Thank you for still showing up and support. It means so much. Oh, I understand. I understand. I tell my son, I say, you slim, take care of yourself. Snacks and stuff are good, but you can't always do that because, baby, you're going to look up one day and it's going to catch up with you. But I have another son, too, that's 27. Um, and he's then turned into a gym rat, man. And I remember growing up, I was hard on him though. I was hard on him. I was that mama when he cut up, he had to stand with his arms up like this, or like this in front of him, y'all. And I would put heavy books when he cut up. I would put heavy books on his arms and make him hold them. Yeah, that's what I told her. Oh, I'm so grateful for that fishy things. I'm so grateful that you could be here in your spare time and that you would share that with me. I tell people always, people don't have to be kind. People don't have to come on in their spare time. People don't have to show up on your live when they're at work, and like Queen Alchemy says on the plantation. I want to take one moment to I know I have shouted out dads, but I want to take a moment to shout out ladies of I Talk. So one day last week, I saw a post of hers touch my heart so much. The way she talked about her dad, you know, listen, I still have challenges in that area, DMV. I mean DMW. I promise I do miss the shots. I do, and that since I went on my fast, it really helped me. Yes, ladies of I Talk she's so phenomenal. She talked about her dad, y'all, and the love she had for that man, the tears in her eyes. And she talked about how her dad always called her, and even as a grown woman, when she's on her way to work, when she's coming home from work, she's calling to see if there's anything she needs, if she's okay. Those things just warm my heart because men are important. You know what I'm saying? Men are important. My dad is no longer here, so sometimes I have to be careful of that daddy situation, that daddy syndrome. You know what I'm saying? Missing, wanting that. Hey, are you okay? Do you need anything? Upgrade, come over so I can give you a hug. Yes, the good ones. That's the thing, the good ones. Because all of them ain't good. And that's the truth. No dad should be telling their children that they want the mama 86. No, them ain't the good ones. But her story warmed my heart. You could see the love in her eyes. You could hear the joy in her voice. She teared up. She became so emotional just talking about how amazing her dad was. And that warmed my heart. I just needed that. I needed, ladies of I Talk, you are amazing. I just needed that. And know that I appreciate you. Sometimes I know we're in different time zones, so sometimes it's hard to catch you. But honey, when I catch you, I'm showing up strong. I just want you to know that I appreciate you, you know. And the dads, I just wish you guys the most amazing. I said this a lot of times on this slide today. I wish you guys the most amazing weekend ever. Whether you want to go out fishing, hang out at the bowling alley, go sit at the bar somewhere, have a beer or whatever it is you drink, have a good time. You know what I'm saying? If you just want to hang out with your children, play a game, watch a movie, do what you do, and know that you are valued and you are important aspect in the community, whatever communities there are, because there are some good dudes making good marks in society, and I appreciate it. For those, they are fishy things. Most of them are, and you guys do not deserve it. You know what I'm saying? I have been saying this for weeks now. Hats off to the good ones. Hats off to the ones that shows up late nights, early mornings. Hats off to the good guys who are out here helping kids with homework, taking them on fishing trips, showing them how to fix a car, electric in the house. You know what I'm saying? Teaching them how to cook, whatever their thing is, passing those gifts on, trades. You know what I'm saying? Those are the good ones. So salute to the good guys. Hats off to those dads, to those grandfathers, to those uncles that are out here showing children, the guys and the girls, what it's like to be a good guy. You know what I'm saying? Showing their daughters how to spot the ones that ain't good for them. Because I wish I had some of that. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have dealt with some of the things that I dealt with. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate those hardworking dads that are out here encouraging and praying and, showing the kids what it is to be a good dude. The ones that work all day and come help their honeys in the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? Even still come home and wash a dish or clean a wall or say, let me go straighten this bathroom, or let me run and put gas in my honey pie car, whatever. Them the good ones. I want to let you guys know that I appreciate it. And I'm here to say, keep going, and don't give up. If you're in a place that you're taking for granted, I pray that God surrounds you with people that have good intentions and that won't make you feel like you've been taken for granted. You know what I'm saying? Know that I mean that from the bottom of my heart. More than you know. I wish I could gather all the wonderful guys that I've had on social media and just lay out a spread for you guys and let you guys chop it up and get a couple of my other cooking sisters, and lay out a good spread for you guys so you guys can eat, have fun, enjoy yourself, and just be dudes. You know what I mean? Talk trash and laugh at each other's jokes and things like that. So just have a good weekend. My prayers for you, the guys that are missing people that they love. Know that God is with you, and I wish you peace. I love it, fishy things. Rodney and Melissa evolving. Those guys too are amazing. If you guys have not checked out Rodney and Melissa evolving page, then what are you doing? Okay? Because they are amazing. They are amazing couple out here inspiring and changing the world, sharing the most amazing stories, sharing people from all walks of life, doing some phenomenal things. And they're just an amazing couple. If you haven't stopped by their page, I urge you to go check it out. Go check it out, and I'm sure it's going to be a good fit that you will not regret. It always out here doing great things. I mean, showcasing some awesome stories, and they've dealt with talk about teens and dating, former people who are coming off drugs or coming out of homelessness. I mean, awesome YouTube people who give tips on growing pages and all sorts of things. Their stories are amazing, and I encourage you, if you haven't done so, please check out Rodney and Melissa. Because guess what, guys? We are stronger together. We learn lessons. I learn lessons from every person that I watch. There is something that I take away from it. And so know that I appreciate you guys. Happy Father's Day again to all of the phenomenal dads out here. I just pray that that season of feeling taken for granted be over and that you feel all the love that is due you. That's what I want to say. Thank you guys for listening to me, for being here, for hearing my stories today. Um, it means so very much. If you guys haven't checked out the interview I did with Queen Alchemy, please do me a favor and check that out. Check it out. Leave a comment. Um, you know, it was a great first experience for me. That was my first time doing an interview like that. And she's so gracious and so kind during the whole interview process. She was so patient. And I'm so grateful for everybody who showed up to see it. And even if you missed it, it's okay. I think I posted it on my community page, and it's also on Queen Alchemy's page. It was Thursday. The interview was this past Thursday. So if you haven't seen it, I just encourage you to go and check it out. And also, Queen Alchemy is going to be doing a juice fast for 7 days. I believe the 15th through the 17th. Not 15th to the whatever it is, 15th through the 21st. My bad. And so if you're interested, go check it out. She went shopping today at the international market and got all of her fruits and herbs and things like that for a 7 day fast. Um, so, there's something to do. Please forgive me. I haven't yarned the whole time I get on live and yarn. And somebody said, that's because you're comfortable. I don't know. But you guys are amazing. I am about to end this live and probably figure out something, maybe, I don't know, see what the weather is like and see if I can slip in a walk. Even though I didn't do the physical workout like I normally do with my weighted hoop or nothing, that the weather is cooperating where I can go get in a walk, me and my son. And so I will see you guys a little bit later. I made my promise. I came up, I came on, and I talked about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Again, happy Father's Day to each and every one of you. Amazing dads and granddads and uncles and all of that good stuff. Um, you guys are amazing. You keep going and don't give up. Keep being phenomenal. And know if you haven't heard the words I love you today, know that I do. Love, value, and appreciate each and every one of you for making a mark in your society and your community, in the world. Thank you all for being so super dope and so super phenomenal. Until later on, by the grace of God, I am Yolanda, and this is my channel, Britt Family Fun. Thank you for being here. Bye, everybody.